Hi, my name is Todd. I want to thank you for tuning back into the Teal Jack channel. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch one more of my videos. And today I'm discussing Alan Dershowitz. So I have ran across a story. This is found on the Western Journal. Alan Dershowitz is now suing CNN for $300 million. When you read through his claim, he's seeking damages for this case for $50 million in compensatory damage and $250 million in punitive damages. This all stems from that wonderful impeachment trial that took place back in January, just as COVID started ramping up. The Democrats were more concerned about the impeachment than about the virus. Remember, they called Trump xenophobic for shutting the borders, but that's for another story. This one's all about the impeachment and specifically what Alan Dershowitz said during that trial. And this comes on January 27th of 2020, this year. And it reads, the plaintiff represents the United States, the President of the United States in the impeachment trial before the United States Senate. On January 29, 2020, in response to a question posed by Senator Ted Cruz, plaintiff delivered a brief response in which she said that the Constitution does not support an impeachment of a president simply because a lawful action taken by the president might have been based in small part to or to some degree on the desire to be reelected, and if the president believes his reelection is in the public's interest. This argument was made in rebuttal to the House manager's claim that a president can be impeached and removed from office if he takes any action whatsoever that is motivated by any percentage or to any degree of desire to be reelected, no matter how minimal. Sorry, I don't have this memorized, so I'm just going to read it to the best of my ability. The only thing that would make a quid pro quo unlawful is if the quo were somehow illegal. Now, we talk about motives. There are three possible motives a political figure could have. One, a motive in the public interest, and an Israel argument would be in public interest. The second is in his own political interest. And third, which has been mentioned, would be his own financial interest, his own pure financial interest, just putting money in the bank. I want to focus on the second one for just one moment. Every public official that I know believes that his election is in the public interest. And mostly, you are right, your election is in the public interest. And if a president does something which he believes will help him get elected in public interest, that cannot be the kind of quid pro quo that results in impeachment. So the lawsuit goes on to state, it is clear, therefore, that Professor Dershowitz expressly stated that the president could be impeached and removed from office if what he did was somehow illegal, regardless of the motive to be reelected. Shortly after the argument was presented to the Senate, CNN then went to work by assembling panels for programming throughout the day in which the host shared only this part of Professor Dershowitz's argument. Every public official I know believes that his election is in the public interest, and mostly you are right. Your election is in the public interest, and if the president does something which he believes will help him get elected in the public interest, that cannot be the kind of the kind of quid pro quo that results in impeachment. Following the airing of that clip over and over again, the hosts, together with their panel guests, including CNN employees, paid commentators, exploded into a one-sided false narrative that Professor Dershowitz believes, and argued that as long as the president believes his election is in public interest, that he could do anything at all, including illegal acts, and be immune from impeachment. The very notion of that was preposterous and foolish on its face, and that was the point, to falsely paint Professor Dershowitz as a constitutional scholar and intellectual who has lost his mind. With that branding, Professor Dershowitz's sound and meritorious arguments would then be drowned under a sea of repeated lies, with the portion of Professor Dershowitz's words played without his words that preceded the sentence. It was an easy sell to CNN viewers, and that the respected Alan Dershowitz believed that the President of the United States could commit illegal acts as long as he thought it would help his re-election, and that his re-election was in public interest, even though it was opposite of what he said. The only way to fool viewers into believing that Professor Dershowitz actually said and meant what CNN hosts and panel guests knew was the exact opposite of what he said, was to deliberately omit the only thing that would make a quid pro quo unlawful, as if the quo were somehow illegal. CNN has been stating lie after lie after lie. Their hosts, their panel guests, all they've been doing for the last coming on 4 years plus now, if you include the run up to the 2016 campaign, it's been over 4 years of just smearing the president, or doing their best to smear the president by stating lies. This is like the case that CNN did against Nick Sandmann, where a Indian, Native American, if you would, stood before his face pounding a drum, and CNN smeared him all over their network. And not only did CNN, but several others did as well. And they smeared his name, and he turned around and filed a lawsuit against CNN, which, of course, we all now know that CNN settled out of court for millions of dollars. The exact dollar amount has never been disclosed. It is good to see that Nick Sandmann got some retribution against CNN for destroying his good name. And the same thing has now happened to Alan Dershowitz, or happened to Alan Dershowitz. And so it is good to see that Alan Dershowitz has now filed a lawsuit to protect his good name as well, and to punish CNN for their lies. Now all we need is a few more people to step up, and maybe, just maybe, these lawsuits will ultimately bankrupt that corrupt news outlet and finally bring them to an end, so that their lying will come to an end. Now, the other good side to this could be that CNN would finally change its lying ways. So if the lawsuits don't financially bankrupt them and cause them to close shop and to go away in history, maybe, just maybe, it will cause them to finally go back to doing what they say they are, and that's a news outlet, and actually start doing actual reporting instead of lying and basing opinions on a false narrative, or doing just as they did to Alan Dershowitz. They leave off part just so they can pitch a narrative that's completely false. And they do this constantly to President Trump, just as many of the reporters do when they sit before the press briefings from the White House and they leave off bits of information to spread a lie. And it's good to see that McEnany actually calls them on it. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the day. Good to see Alan Dershowitz has filed a lawsuit. Hopefully this lawsuit will not be settled out of court, that it will actually go to trial, so that CNN's name can be smeared once and for all as the liars they are and bring it in to their lying ways. Those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Hi, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch one of my videos. Please hit the like button below, and if you would, hit the subscribe link up here. And take some time to watch one of my other videos. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day. God bless, and take care of yourself.